said to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, howdy, folks. For the second time today, or maybe for the first for you, maybe you didn't catch the earlier show where I've managed to drag my ass through, well, not even all of question time, to be honest. And what a I urge you to go back. If you haven't watched question time today with my comments, you might find some of them amusing. You might find some of them entertaining. You might find some of them enlightening. You might find some of them make bloody common sense. But you might find some of them are shit too. And you're entirely welcome to find that if that is the case. But we're going to continue on tonight with the theme of the government screwing us. And, well, boy, haven't they been doing their best to do so today. We're aiming for Donna from the Corruptioiin Whistleblower to join us shortly, probably Peter as well, if truth be told. But I do have one man who has rung me half an hour ago and said, "You're doing a show at 6:30. I want to say something." So tonight, instead of waving, he's going to rave.
He is pissed off.
Tell us about it, Vincenzo.
All right. There's so much wrong with what's just happened or what is possibly going to happen tonight, and especially if the Greens or the Libs decide to vote this bill through. Now, the title is, right now, tonight might be my last night of freedom. So for both you and me, it could bloody well be, right? Because we won't be able to talk freely about what's going on. I mean, the legislation does not exempt any groups, and that includes political groups. So if we hate against a political group, we have just broken the fucking law. Now, notice I'm swearing, and I don't give a fuck because this is so friggin' bad. Right? Normally Carl goes off and I'm the quiet one. This is so flippin' horrendous. I could speak for the whole hour on just how this is going to wreck Australia. This, at this moment in time, this is a life-changing event in Australia. And if the people don't want to stand up, as Babette said, the people don't want to stand up, they're going to suffer, right? He stood up and he says he does not want to go back. He does not want to live in the cesspit. So, yes, you still have a mic. I know I'm taking control.
No, but Tony said, check your mic, Carl. And I'm thinking, oh, it looks all right. It looks like it's working to me. So
yeah, no, it's probably because Vince has gone into a rant. So effectively, if we don't, as Australians, start standing out, everybody who watches this show, right? If you sit back quietly and voice your opinions and you're saying, yeah, I agree, etc. I don't agree with this, but I agree with most of what you say. It's no longer a time of just sitting back in your seat and agreeing. It's time to get out and start speaking to other people. We have 2 years to change people's minds and get out there and put somebody totally different into this government. Now, I think it can be done. I honestly do think it can be done, but only if the majority of people start stepping up. And the only way we're going to get a majority is if we go out and start talking to people and finding out just exactly how many people out there agree with us. And I think you're going to find there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who agree with us.
Yeah,
right?
Millions of people. And this is where I think One Nation are going to find a lot more vote. In the 3.2 or 3.4 million people who didn't vote at the last federal election. So
part of it.
Yeah. Those people, some will never vote. Some don't believe in it. Some don't believe in being forced to vote. But there is a percentage
got my
of them,
answer on that.
And I might even say the majority of them would vote if they felt there was a candidate worth supporting.
Yeah, 100%.
We were talking about things we would like to see changed. And Donna from the Corruptioiin Whistleblower who I will share a screen with you.
No, you won't, because she popped out again.
I should have the Corruption Whistleblower screen able to be shared with you. I don't know why I'm not able to share that for the time being. That's very weird.
No, his computer's playing up again, guys. It's a HP. It loves being cooked. They're wonderful for that.
Share screen.
Is this a website, is it?
Yeah. So this is the Corruption Whistleblower website. And I urge you to go there, corruptionwhistleblower.com. You can join the grand jury, which is something that we will talk about tonight. You might be familiar with the grand jury that we did February last year now, where we turned up at Old Parliament House, much to the surprise of the people at Old Parliament House, and indicted all the sitting politicians. It was a great day. So there is more of that planned. Not back in Canberra, interestingly. So I won't steal her thunder. I'll wait for Donna to join. She's trying to. They seem to be having some trouble getting their microphone or camera or both working. So we'll, fingers crossed, they'll be shortly. So Vince, back to what you were saying, and
okay.
Well,
so this law, the one they are putting through tonight, the revision was only handed out to the politicians this morning at 7 o'clock. The revision, they haven't even had a chance to fucking well read it. Now, excuse me, but isn't there a fiduciary duty that they have to perform? Do we need to, as Australians, create a full-on class action suit, I should say, against every single politician in that parliament for failing to do their fiduciary duty? Do we need to take this to the High Court for failure to do their fiduciary duty? I mean, how can you pass something you have not even read? That's like...
Yeah, I would agree. And how could they possibly have read the over 2 million submissions that they received inside 24 hours? There may have been some in support of the motions, but I guarantee you the overwhelming majority were against. So how can the people's will, with over 2 million submissions, forget the ones that were turned up before 24 hours, the ones turned up 48 hours ago, in 24 hours, there were over 2 million submissions put in just on this omnibus bill or its new derivative, the split version of it. And what a god-awful mess they've made of it. Now, the Liberals said they weren't going to, as well, many Liberals came out and said they weren't going to vote against this or they were going to vote for this or that. Andrew Hastie apparently let White Ryder, or Lady Ryder know rather, that he's a liar and a traitor. She's got an email from him saying that he wouldn't vote yes, particularly for the gun control stuff. So he seems to have gone back on his word there. I think there are quite a few Liberals that have done that. So, yeah, we'll see. But there is plenty for us to be very concerned about, folks. And I guess if we're going to get concerned, many of us like to find loud voices to join or to hang around and learn from, listen from. And I've got one of the best loud voices in the business joining us tonight. She is one of the wonderful people behind the Corruption Whistleblower. Would you put your hands together for the lovely Donna? How are you, doll?
Hey, Donna.
Greetings. Yes, all is well. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're sorry, Vince, I'm going to stick you out for a bit. You're looking a bit tired. You've had a pretty big weekend, and you and Pete are forever driving all over the countryside. So can you give us a bit of a rundown? Happy New Year. I hope you had a great New Year and Christmas.
Yes, we did. Yes. Always working through it still, though. But, yeah, all is well. Everything's going well.
That's great. So what's your thoughts on what's been going on with the Australian Parliament in its early recall and since what's happened with Bondi?
Yeah, so of course it's horrendous what's happened with Bondi, but like we have reflected on it, it wasn't just targeted at Jews, it was targeted at everyone at Bondi Beach. So, you know, we have terrorists in our midst. So, and you know, I know you've talked about One Nation and all of that stuff, and they do call that out. But there's a whole other step, really. We know we can't vote our way out of this by just putting another a puppet or person who in charge again, without, like I said on your site, without renewing an oath to the people, without you know, relinquishing the foul government that we currently have tyrannically over us.
So for people who don't know, Donna has put forward her thoughts at vofhq.com, where you can do it too. We asked the question, if one nation was to get into election or to get into government, what would be the KPIs, the key performance indicators that we would need to see from One Nation in their first term in government before you would trust them as a government? And Donna put in this afternoon, wow, Pauline and the dream of One Nation. Would Pauline and her crew take a new oath for the people? So let's start there. I think that's a great place to start, with a new oath to the people. Donna, do you think that oath should also apply to the bureaucrats who are the unelected but real power behind all this?
Look, there's a lot of people waking up in this nation, and we're realizing that there's a lot of corruption in our system. So this is something that's come to the forefront. This is something that is, like I said, not going to be easily voted out. It's a cesspool. So we really have to look at the whole cesspool. But what we're doing very graciously is giving them a plank to walk out off their ship, off their cesspool ship, onto the land and soil jurisdiction, and working with the people to most definitely carve a new future, a new and better government, and entire new banking structure that can see us one of the most prosperous nations to be here.
That leads me to your third point. Would Pauline and her crew be willing to testify in a common law court about what they have encountered in the parliament? I think that's another exceptionally good point. And that works to your analogy of here is a plank, walk from your crusty old ship onto the land. And to do that, it's, you know, washing yourself free of the sins, essentially. But the deal is you'll tell us what they are in a common law court.
Well, yes. And of course, we continue to encourage people in local groups to get common law court groups together and educate yourself on that, because we will be needing you soon. Train up as a sheriff if you want to do it with the Western Australia crew or wherever you want to do it, because, you know, that's what I would say to any of these politicians. Okay, you walk the plank over to land and soil jurisdiction, you give testimony, and you, you know, clean yourself up, and then maybe still with the people working with them, come off their pedestal, and the people working with them, because there's a lot of fantastically educated people in the truther movement and who are waking up now. So many, for my whole life, really, I'd have to say, how come the person walking on the street seems to have better ideas than our government, who just seem to want the death of us all? So, you know, there's a lot of great people that are willing to step up, and I bet they wouldn't work many days for free like all of us have. So, you know, our integrity is intact.
Well, they don't have to work days for free. They just put an invoice to the government, and the government pays them for it, or that we, the people, pay them for the time they put in on we, the people's behalf, I guess. The last point that you put in here is you wanted them to swear an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That oath also exists, but you've added and confess crimes. That's a very salient point to add.
Yeah, not just their own crimes, which we would require them to confess, but very much crimes that they've seen, crimes that even if they've been compromised, we're giving them that period of time to come and confess their crimes, confess the other crimes so that the justice can prevail here. So these common law courts, I believe, will be coming into effect soon as we continue to press into these banksters who owe us, as you know, trillions of dollars from the last round that we did on Corruptioiin Whistleblower. You'll see all the videos up there, which leads me to my next point. So after we've served all the banksters, we will be continuing, and thank you very much for all the people who have attended previous grand juries. We are planning another grand jury to finalise a lot of the paperwork, to get more numbers, to take it over to international courts, ICC, ICJ, whatever that kind of looks like. But what we really want is the witness impact statements. So we would love people to write their story down. Imagine these courts receiving, 5,000 witness impact statements, 10,000. They've taken my child. They've taken my house. They've accosted me at the side of the road and taken my car and left me there, or locked me out of my car and put me in danger. We need to hear the small stuff, the big stuff. We need witness statement testimonies to be submitted to us. As we run the grand jury in March, the Melbourne one, we're looking at covering the councils, of course, the constitution stuff that's all out of place, the child trafficking. We're also looking to cover issues of Martin Bryant and Desi Freeman, and we're also looking to talk about how the police have been going, and we seem to have quite a few ex-police officers who would be more than willing. This is what I'm saying. The same thing can happen with the people in Parliament. We've got ex-police officers that are more than willing and have already blown the whistle on the police force. So we need this to happen with Parliament, or they will all go down in the sinking ship, mark my words. They will go down in their own sinking ship, because justice is coming, like I said in numerous speeches, and righteousness will be restored, and common law courts are being restored as we speak, as we hold the banksters and the Parliament to the rule of law.
So witness statements are what you are seeking. That means anybody who has been affected in an adverse manner by government or officialdom, is there a time frame on this, or can it be at any time in their life? I know Randolph Workus, if you're watching this is something you absolutely must do. This is something that Doris and her husband Michael absolutely must do in Melbourne, because, well, they're two examples of people who've had not just houses stolen off them, but in Randall's case, businesses, everything. They stole everything from him. And the story is simply amazing. It's very involved and too long to tell here, and that's why Randall's never really been on the show.
And I'll say that because the stories are very long and involved, because it's such a convoluted, treasonous, terrorist government that we currently have ruling over us with the iron fist, with the gun pointed at us whilst they take ours. Please take your time and do it fully. There's no, maybe 10 pages would be a space limit. The time limit, we'd really need them by, coming up to the end of February, because we'd want to have them ready for, the 1st of March. We'd want them in by to go. You'll have to go to the web page. Look, this is just fresh off the press, basically. You're the first to know about it, Carl, that we'll be running a grand jury. We'll be getting the impact witness statements together. That would be great if they could be sworn in by a JP, and you keep an original and you post an original off to 577.
Because some people in the previous action were a bit concerned that they were posting off their original and wouldn't be able to produce it on demand. So this is the way of circumventing that question or that issue that people might have. Do it twice, get it signed off by a JP, send one off, keep one for yourself.
That's what we do. Sometimes we do 3 and 4 original documents, and it's a great way to do it. And then what we'd be doing, we're taking copies getting the submissions together for the international courts. And of course, there's no just courts left here, as we well know. There's no courts. You get blocked out of the High Court. You get steamrolled over in the other courts. So we'll be covering a lot of these matters in the grand jury. It's definitely a call to action for the people. And we want to hear your stories. We want to hear your testimony. And please name the judges, name the magistrates, the justices they are, name the magistrates, name the public servants by name, if not at least by office, who has harmed you. Very important to get all of the names, the police involved, the superior, as many names as you can on there, so that we can, go on. Sorry, go. Yep.
I would commend that the likes of everybody whose banned organisation whose organisation just became banned, given these new hateful laws that the government are forcing through on us tonight. The like, and people might not like me saying this, but I'm always a fighter for the freedom of speech. I don't have to agree with what you have to say, but I will fight for your right to say it. And Thomas Sewell has come out today and said that the NSN is now disbanded, and every other political group and activist group that they had are now disbanding completely. They will be totally disbanded by 11:59 p.m. on the 25th of January, so that prior to Australia Day or any action of law coming through. So these guys they've got a complaint to make. Those sorts of fellas have been hassled. One guy got sent back to South Africa for standing on a footpath.
Wow. Well, we've had people's homes raided because they've got gun licenses, people dragged out of cars. Tell us your testimony, because we really
I was told a ball terror of a story about a police officer or a former police officer now, who is still highly respected. This guy had worked in the special operations kind of groups, things, and he was an avid member of his local gun club, where he was also an instructor. He had a wife who unfortunately suffered some mental health problems. So of his own volition, he removed his guns from his home and took them in the safe to the gun club, where they were fully protected. But once the little officious bureaucrats found out that the wife had mental health problems, they removed his license from him. They've taken and confiscated all his guns, and now have stopped him having his retirement earn, which was, instructing people on the proper use of weapons, which he'd been instructing police officers on doing for years, and there is no avenue of appeal. I mean, the level of control the governments are putting over us are crushing. So Corruptioiin Whistleblower is fighting really hard. And while it may sound weird to some people, the path you are taking, you have some of the best brains in the world working with you, putting all this together. Not to say your brain is not one of them. It must be a very exciting time, Donna. You're talking with people all over the world who are working on these sorts of things too.
Yeah, we are most definitely. This is very international now. Australia's leading the way. We have served the banksters. The CEOs have been served. The RBA has been served, and we've got some fantastic steps to come for them, which of course will direct funds. And the government just follows who pays them, doesn't it? So we know the banks have tanked because of the silver prices and all these other huge amounts of complaints. The biggest shock was the ANZ AGM. Boy, oh boy, did people have some absolutely horrendous complaints about that bank taking out millions of dollars loans without people knowing, and then we get back, they owe us 1.1 trillion, but it's a lot more than that. That's just the initial deposit. They owe the people about 4-point-something trillion, but it's all right, Carl. They put it through to the complaints department. ANZ did. How precious.
Did they?
Yeah. So they'll fix it.
Well, I wonder if somebody's also put something through to the complaints department that a lot of the bank's gold appears to have gone missing.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? And the 12,000 tons of metric gold that was delivered on the 1st of January in 1966 to the Reserve Bank So it was called the Central Bank of Australia back then, from memory. So yeah, they've decided to keep all of that. They were supposed to give it prosperity payments, as you know, in 1997, and then it all come to light again with the document, the Treasury document of the 300 in 2007, and now here we are again, 2026, 2027. We're supposed to be the next payout. So look, they've got a lot to answer for, and we've got the paper trails to show that what we're saying is true and correct. So there's going to be a lot of courts ruling in our favour, and the pathway forward looks bleak. Just saying, the pathway forward looks very bleak for the banks and for the parliament, because there'll be a time where even the military will have to obey what is right and true. Just saying.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. At some point, the military will realise that portions of their leadership are acting in treason. They are acting without honour, and those ranks will do something about it. I feel 100%
And this is what I'm saying
sure of
back
that.
to Pauline Hanson. I'll circle back round to Pauline Hanson. She needs to step out and just create an entire new government. She's got half the nation. She could step out and not necessarily be leader. We'd want teams. We want, teams to be running it. I think we're over with the king. We're over with just one person being a ruler and a leader over us. As we launch the asset-backed currency, it's going to have a voting aspect, so the people can vote what they want in and out. We're very smart, but I know people say that we're asleep and stupid, but only some are. The people, there's many who are very smart and would love the opportunity to vote and be paid for voting, have a different banking system that's off the central bank, that's definitely able to link in with other people who are able to buy and sell and have asset-backed currency. So that's all coming. It's not too far off now. So these voting this governance that we've got coming very shortly with this new the People's Building Society. There's nothing online yet about it, but it's coming. The People's Building Society will be building society as we go in and do the grand jury indictments and dismantle the treason and the satanic terrorism that we're put under, and our children are stolen because of. And I believe they've just passed some other ferocious bill about trafficking organs and everything. So we are well on our way to a third world nation if we're not really, really careful. Or maybe, hey, we're there already.
Yeah, maybe we are. The building society sounds interesting. Will that be gold and silver backed? Is that the plan?
Yes, it will be. Yeah, gold and silver backed, and also backed by the in-ground, the land bank of this nation. And it's a whole new way of sharing our funds that are due to us. As you know, they take the gold and silver out of the ground and shovel it off, and it's all taken on unjust terms, as Peter, has spoken about this before. So again, be a hero, Pauline Hanson, and step out and do a new oath to people and have a new pathway. Of course, that ship that's there, that Parliament ship is got sinking. It's got a lot of holes in it, and it's going down. And the public servants need to be very careful what they're supporting and who they're supporting, because their councils and everything are going to be called into account publicly and internationally now. So we're very pleased to announce the grand jury that's coming up in Melbourne in March. Just getting a few numbers now, looking at 2,000, maybe 5,000. We're interested to see the responses. You can go on to info at Corruptioiin Whistleblower and register your interest, and we will do our best to contact you and press on from there. If you want to roll, if you want to help, hey, please help. Put your hand up to help. Really appreciate anything like that. Just email me, Donna, or Peter at info@corruptioinwhistleblower.com. And we've got lots of teams bubbling away, ready to go for this. Because I just want to say one more thing, because what this actually leads up to is, as we come together, for example, in the child protection section, we will be doing audits back into what they've done. And this is kind of the beginning of the audits. We need your the witness statement, what harm has happened to you from, for example, child protection. Please tell us your story, because it will be audited one day when we get teams up to go back in and audit these disgusting kidnappers who are allowed to point the gun at the mother and father, point the gun at the people and steal their children. So, you know, that's a
Or
close
who
one to
coerce
my heart.
one party rather than the other.
Yeah, they do.
You know, to tell lies about the other party. All that they have to be brought to account. God knows.
And the amount of people, the amount of people that are left in jail for months and years on end before this corrupt court system hears their case. So all this stuff needs to get fixed up and brought to light. And it's as much as we hate to say it kind of starts with the money, and that's why banks are in a lot of trouble. And we're looking at launching prosperity payments and stuff. We'll be telling you more about that in the February, and most definitely at the grand jury indictment, we'll be talking about that briefly as well. So there's a lot coming up this year. That's some real big hitters, those two things already, because there's a treasonous government in charge of the gun, and now they're disarming us even further. And it's quite shocking, actually. It's quite shocking. You think they'd actually, if they thought a little bit harder, you know what you think they'd be doing, Carl? They'd actually be going, hey, let's arm and train up really good people that have got, that have got integrity and everything. Let's arm them and disarm the people, who have got 100 or 300 guns. I get that. That might be too many. But they're still thinking of taking all the guns away is going to fix everything. But that's just going to leave the criminals with the guns.
No, they don't like that idea so much, Donna, that they stopped gel blasters in most states, and the groups that banded together to go shooting each other from the bushes each weekend. Why? Because the civilians were congregating, training, moving as military units. They were learning tactics, and that all could be employed against, well, who? I don't know. But the government seemed to be worried about it, and that's why they've shut it all down, or in part why they've shut it all down.
They are very worried. They're also worried because their satanic magic doesn't work anymore, and I'll announce that publicly. Their satanic magic does not work anymore. All their little hokey-pokey spells that they do and try and do, and all their black magic that we know they do behind the scenes, guess what, guys? Doesn't work anymore. Doesn't work anymore. On the people who have strength and integrity, who are shining a new light, their stuff is they're just getting shown up. So just letting them know that we're coming for them now in a very lawful way, in a very professional and lawful way.
Yeah, absolutely. Professional and lawful. Two things that are happening in Davos very shortly over this week would be the professional and lawful screwing of nations around the world. What are we going to do about those sorts of organizations?
Well, I believe that what you'll find is there'll be a coordinated effort to bring them down, because what we're finding, there's miracles every day and stuff is happening over there. And just at the time we're rising up at this time, those people are getting rugs pulled out from underneath them, like I said, because all their tricks and all their magic and all their stuff doesn't work anymore. So it's all getting tied up and tied down and ending now. It's ending now. So it's coming from all different directions, of course, not just from us. This is a global shift that they know no matter what timeline they're on, they can't stop. So here we come.
Looking forward to the crash at the end of it. Thank you very much for joining me. Can I just?
It'll be a lift off. It'll be a lift off, Carl. It'll be their crash, but it'll be our lift off.
Absolutely, we'll be launching. All right. I just want to congratulate you. The background, the salubrious new accommodations aren't looking too bad. Can I just say?
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Yes, we've been very blessed.
The last time I saw that room, I might have been nailing a panel on it.
You could well have been. The people are very gracious and helping us have a good base somewhere so we can work out from. So it's been amazing. People around us are shining amazingly. So Yeah,
Awesome.
my kind regards to all your good listeners, and may we continue to grow and elevate together and restore law and order for the people and by the people. And yeah, Pauline Hanson, I say, step away, step out, step up, be a national hero. Like I said to the NAB CEO, hey, mate, you can be a national hero or you can continue to be a criminal. Your choice, because it's all public now.
Yep. Everybody gets the choice. So thank you for being one of the wonderful people that can offer it to them, Donna.
Thanks. Yeah, no worries.
All right. Well, my best to your other half. We haven't seen him in this show, but my best to Pete. And I look forward to catching up with you guys in Melbourne in March for the grand jury that will happen there. We'll bring details to you as they come to hand. But Donna and her team will be there, me and, well, my team. That'll be Tony, and whoever else wants to be a stringer that weekend. And can't wait to get down there and play whatever role we can to help push this forward. So thanks for everything you do, darling. Really good to see you, and Happy New Year.
Yeah. Thank you. Very good. And Happy New Year to you and you all for the Gregorian calendar.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you later.
She's great. That's Donna from the Corruption Whistleblower. I saw that Vince has put up the website, corruptionwhistleblower.com.au. No, corruptionwhistleblower.com it is, from memory. No AU at the end of it. So there you go. If you feel, and let's be honest, there aren't many of us who haven't felt at one stage or another that we've been pretty badly treated by our government or our local council, then you need to prepare yourself, as Donna has said, a dossier on the crimes that have been committed against you, a witness statement, and get it to them. Trying to limit them to 10 pages long. I know I mentioned Randolph. Randolph couldn't put his whole thing into 10 pages, I don't think. The levels and multiple crimes that they committed against him. And without spoiling the story or giving away the ending, he lost everything, and the only people to seem to profit out of it seemed to be the three other people involved, which were 2 lawyers and a judge. So it's astounding what happened to him, and it has happened to other people. Whether or not Randolph can compact what happened to him into 10 pages, I urge him to get as much of it as you can in there anyway. And if you've got something that you feel the government have treated you harshly on, and this extends to the Victorian farmers at the moment who are fighting for their rights over their own land, and the power companies getting free range to go and put high flow power lines over their properties without doing proper due diligence. It's now been discovered that many of these towers that will have these power lines hanging from them were designed by fools who didn't really understand temperatures in the Wimmera of Victoria or the Mallee of Victoria, or indeed the southwest of Victoria. And of course, in summer, these lines heat up and they get a bit slack. We've all seen telephone lines get, longer in summer, so to speak. Well, they've got to such a point in Victoria that if those power lines were built in some of the areas that they're trying to build them at the moment, the farmers wouldn't be allowed to drive their farm machinery, particularly headers, underneath those power lines because of the arcing potential, the fire potential. So the farmers lose access to their land. Big corporation doesn't lose access to its power. Those sorts of farmers, they've got a real witness statement they can put in, particularly people in Victoria. Every one of you could lay a witness statement against everything that's happened in your state since about, 2020. Let's just limit it, shall we? Just back to 2020. Any of you who've lost friends or relatives due to the coercion of being jabbed, your witness statement will help. And you might think at the moment, oh, what help is it going to be? What help is it going to be? These things always take time. And you and I one day may not be old enough, or well, may be too old. We may not be around to see the end result of this. But what will be around are your witness statements. Now, there were supposedly millions upon millions of Jews killed in the Second World War. And witness testimony from those dead Jews was heard in the Nuremberg trial from stories, obviously, that were written down, notebooks, all that sort of thing before these people were killed. So they weren't around to see the end result of the world squaring up, if you like. And that may be the case for many of us, maybe. I hope not. I'm sure you hope not too. But the more witness statements that you can provide to Donna and her team with the Corruptioiin Whistleblower, those witness statements will go internationally to the ICC and other courts. And you'll say, okay, well, other people have gone to the ICC before and made a complaint, and yada, yada, yada. Well, they have. And they've been knocked back for a variety of reasons. The most recent reason appears to be you brought this action as a singular person, not as a group of people saying this has really badly affected us. So let's not leave them in any doubt how badly it has affected us. 5,000 witness statements. We could make it 25,000 witness statements. And they need to be done as the way Donna suggested. So you can find that at the Corruptioiin Whistleblower site, corruptionwhistleblower.com. And I urge you to get behind that. And Melbourne, get ready. That is where the grand jury will be in March. So we will let you know times, places, and whatnot as soon as we know. I know some people that you know, aside from Donna, are working on this. And if we come along, well, Vince and I will play whatever role we can as Voice of Freedom and as FBN. And certainly this is something that FBN will be streaming. And I'll bring up the manager of FBN now because he likes me to call him that in private. Oh, yeah, act like you're shy now. But that's not the case at all. I mean, when these cameras aren't on, fair dinkum, folks, he gets out and he whips the whip a bit. You know, he can be a bit intimidating. He's taller than me and older. So I found out.
Sorry, last night.
Yeah.
Mate,
I found out
there is so much. There is so much that we can put onto the FBN channels. If you guys want to submit stuff to us, we've got a place where it can be done. So FBN Media and Voice of Freedom are working in collaboration with each other. They are actually two separate entities. Voice of Freedom is Carl's channel and Carl's channel alone. FBN is a combined media format. And while we may have our personal views, we are not limiting it to our personal views, if that makes sense.
You mean other people don't have to agree with what we say? They can say something different.
Yeah, thanks. That's why he's here. He's the voice. See, that works, right? So that's right. They can, because you've got to have both sides of the argument, right? Otherwise, you can't really make a good informed decision. And that's the thing that did not happen today. We didn't get to see the argument at all, period. Right? You can tell I'm mad. Look, this red is not just the color of my lights. This is because I am fucking fuming.
I think it's better for your health. I think it's better for your health we let you calm down.
Yeah, not going to happen. Not with this government. They're a mob of fuckwits, and I'm going to say that. So I might start a political group that actually hates the politicians, who are a group, so therefore they can enforce the laws. That's how weak these laws are. They can be used on anybody, hence the title. This is our last night of freedom, most probably.
Yeah.
Right, because
I thought
they
Crunch
want to
was
go
advocating. Crunchy was advocating for you and I to go to Davos, but Arvy's already there. He's already said, "Oh, you know, we've turned up on our economy class tickets, and we're staying in our economy class Airbnb. But if you'd like to help us pay for it, that'd be great. Let the whole Jewish nation pay for Arvy and his crew over there. Rebel makes a lot of money, and a lot of it's handed to them. So yeah." However,
Yeah,
I'll be
and I
honest,
mean,
jealous because Arvy is over
don't,
there, and
we're not.
he is covering it, and we're not. So that says a lot about operating funds, cash
Yeah.
readiness. You know, I would love to be there to bring you my end and my take on Davos, but I don't have that level of support. God love you for those that do support me in the ways that you do. But no, I don't have that level of community, let's say community, that is behind Arvy, that makes sure he gets whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Yeah, we have a very, very loving community, but we need to expand it greatly, and not just for us. In matter of fact, it's actually more important because it's for Australia. If we don't get out there and we don't start spreading the word and start putting in a second train of thought into these systems, right? If we don't start having those discussions like, should I vote or not? Should I vote? And, you know, if you don't vote, then, well, for you, because at least we have a chance of doing something. Yeah, you don't get to the end of the road if you don't take a first step. So, but, you know, doesn't mean we can't work with the people who don't want to do that, because they still have brilliant ideas in other areas. But as I said last night, my place can be, all of a sudden, my place can be ended up as a group, a hate group, put on the prohibition. You could have any group, any of us broadcasters at all, like Tim Dwyer. Speaking of Tim Dwyer, I will just copy this. Literally,
Tim's
as we
true.
came on air. Whoops, I went and just shrunk myself. That was clever. Literally, as we came on air, he just released another video. So I am just going to send everybody the link. So
the video that he released prior to this one is well worth watching at Tim's Truth on Rumble if you haven't seen it, folks. It's got Tim's head and a Spartan soldier on it. That's how you pick it.
Yeah.
But it's only, I think, 15 minutes long. But he asks a very good question. A very, very, very good question. So you might want to give that one a look before you have a look at tonight's little offering from Tim. And I'll endeavor to get him on at some stage this week too, because he is working very hard from his constitutional solution perspective. And I've got to say, getting a fair bit of support for what they're doing there too. I think in part, there have been meetings in the last week or so with various different sections of this movement working on different elements, if you like. We're all broadly working on the same sorts of things, but many are working from different angles, come up with a different answer. Think theirs is better than the others. So there have been meetings this week to stem that a lot and bring the communication together, to work openly together. And I'm very hopeful that we will see something develop out of that real soon. Both parties will go after one nation. Absolutely, they will.
And here's a point. Remember, I said the legislation does not exclude politicians or parties. Can anybody read what I'm saying here? How do you take your opposition out? You suddenly make them, by law, a party of hate. And what party could that possibly be? One nation, because they say mass immigration or everything else that she's been saying, which is 155% correct, right? But now they can designate the whole political party as a hate group. And do you think that they won't do that?
Oh,
if I was a betting man, right? If I was a betting man, and I am, I'm giving 80-20 on that's what they'll try if it looks like One Nation's going to take them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We can probably come back to this in 2
right.
years and say, I told you so. And I'll go, yay. Too bad the country just went up in a fucking ball of flames.
Well, it would
Right,
too.
but,
It
yeah.
would probably signify that the people have no other way to get what they want. If they can't do it, like as you say, if they outlaw the party that everybody's going to vote for before the election, then that's a pretty good indication of just how rampantly out of control the whatever party in control would be that would do that. And I don't think the people would stand for it.
That would be Libs and ALP. And we saw them give their pantsy-handsy questions in your show from earlier today. I love that comment. He's already said fucking sorry 3 fucking times, you stupid bitch. And that's right. He had. And there was none of that question time was about
that goes
what was
to planning.
on.
That goes to strategy and planning, because they wanted to hammer the point home. They expected he wasn't going to answer the way they wanted him to, and they wanted to try and make him look uncomfortable. He didn't look uncomfortable. He looked like he'd done everything he needed to do, to be honest. The fact that he did it very late, I agree, is part of the reason that One Nation have got the support that they have now, because so many normies woke up to how inept the Labor government is and how afraid they are of calling out radical Islam and those sorts of issues. So that's been a huge boon to the One Nation polling. And I think that, going forward, if they can ride this wave, they do stand the potential to be a real alternative for Australians going forward. So
265,000 Australians left this nation. I tell you, if it wasn't for my family, right now, I'd be gone. Right, this country is fucked.
They replaced the 265,000 with 480 odd thousand.
Actually, I did some numbers on that. Yeah, it's actually 500 and something thousand incoming, but there was a certain amount that left, about 180 something. Ended up with 309,000 still here for last year. Right. That's how it worked out. Right. So, gotta love. All okay, right. AI is a big threat to us, but it has some really good advantages.
True that.
So,
all right, I'm going to go. I've got an early start, or I had an early show, and I've got somebody who's ringing me rather urgently that I need to get a hold of. So I'm going to need to go. It's been wonderful having you in for chat.
Oh, mate, no, you didn't have a choice. I said I was coming. So, because I'm so fucking pissed off. And I'm not the only one. You guys need to as well. So on my outgoing take, where I normally says, have hope and keep the faith. Right now, have hope, keep the faith, get fucking angry and start talking. Bye all.
And here endeth the lesson from Vince. I couldn't agree with him more, folks. It's about time more of us got up. I know many of us are angry, but we need to excite more others into the kind of anger that is going to be propelling us forward, not into trouble, but forward into a great future. Bear that in mind. Make your witness statement. Submit it to the Corruptioiin Whistleblower. They really need your help. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, folks. And in fact, I don't know, might even do another little play around with question time if it looks like there's going to be something interesting there. Until then, be safe on the roads. And Laura got to her second destination okay, for those of you that are playing the game and following along at home. Have yourself a great one, and watch out for the dickheads, folks. God love you.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!